Let's see. I got two computers in front of me.
Give me the correct pronunciation of your last name.
Langlais.
Langlais. Good.
Yes.
All right.
All right. I get that
So here we're going to be going live here with Dennis Langlais in just a few minutes. This is a quick little Instagram thing. Super excited. It's our first live one with video, so this will be a lot of fun.
This is going to be fun. I'm pretty stoked. This is going to be pretty...
How do you want me to introduce you?
You can introduce me as Dennis Langlais' 5 Minute Bark Podcast. Does that sound easy enough?
Easy enough.
And you can hear me okay, correct?
Yeah.
All right. So we're on Facebook Live as well here today. We're kind of showing you what's up when you go live before a podcast even starts. We haven't started the podcast yet, but we're on Funnel Hacker Live here today with Dave Woodward. This is going to be pretty awesome. So, yeah, you get 2 pros for the price of 1. Right?
I'm really excited. So again, welcome everyone to Funnel Hacker Radio. Again, I'm your host, Dave Woodward. I have the opportunity of having Dennis Langlais with me today. He is the owner and basically author and developer of the 5 Minute Bark Podcast. Honestly, one of the craziest, coolest things out there. I love what you're doing, Dennis. And the great thing is this is going to be, I try to keep these like 25, 30 minutes. I'm going to have to get jam-packed in there because you've got so much crazy content and you're always out there crushing it. So I'm so proud of you, man. You're just awesome.
Thanks. Yeah, it's really exciting to have a podcast. And of course, I'm a big funnel hacker myself. And taking my shirt off there. And yeah, so it's really fun. I'm really excited to kind of combine the two too, right? I mean, podcasting, funnels, it's awesome. It's so awesome. Yeah.
So tell me about Cody Dog.
So Cody Dog is the parent company for the 5 Minute Bark Podcast. So Cody Dog Interactive was a interactive website company where we created basically websites. And I kind of veered away from that and got into the podcasting because it's way funner, right? It's so much more exciting to be doing podcasts and talking to people like yourself. So I kind of, I still do some on referral, but basically if I get a client that calls me, I say I only do ClickFunnels. So I don't do any kind of coding anymore or anything like that. And, essentially you can really build a regular website in ClickFunnels nowadays too. So it's pretty simple. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
Love it. So I'm really excited just about, first of all, you got a really cool studio going on there.
Thanks.
I'm sitting here looking at my office and we're in the process right now of building the studio. I'm literally right next door with drop downs and everything else. And I'm going, I was going to wait until we had that before I went video. I'm like, you know what? Dennis is like the bomb out there when it comes to podcasting. So I thought I'd learn from you as I'm going through all this myself. So I'm pretty excited.
Well, I guess I'm one of the original video and, well, I'm sure there's other ones, but video and audio podcasts. So we do podcasts, obviously through audio on iTunes and then video on YouTube. But I also kind of create little trailers for people, like little promo videos that they can use to promote their podcast. Because, with social media, you kind of need to give some sort of twist to people to go forward with. So I've been doing that for the people. So it's pretty cool.
Dennis, I'm really excited about that. Russell and I and Steven and John literally spent the morning today kind of going through. We just did this huge 3-hour Facebook Live Expert Secrets Masterclass thing, kind of patterned after Brendan Bouchard's 7-day product launch. And it's been fascinating to me is just seeing how important different medias are when it comes to list building and content generation. And it's just, honestly, it's one of those things that I started off at least with the whole idea everything was email. And we're going so far from that right now, from the social stuff and the podcasting and having a platform I've been amazed. I mean, I'm nowhere near your size as part, as download. We're, 25, 30,000 downloads a month right now. So not at the level you're at. But it's been one of those things that's been fascinating for me to see the personality that you're able to create through a podcast. I'll run into people like, hey, you're the guy on
I know you, yeah.
Funnel Hacker Radio.
Yeah.
And now with the idea of adding video to it. So tell me how you kind of started off with the video. Again, you're literally going to be my first episode, most likely, of a video we'll have on YouTube on our Funnel Hacker TV. So
cool. Yeah. So basically, the reason I started doing video is because, well, the bandwidth is there now. You know what I mean? The only reason podcasts didn't have video is because the bandwidth just wasn't strong enough and you couldn't carry it around your pocket, right? So now everything is streamable. Right to your phone. You got LED, which is technically, or LTE, which is faster than actually cable in some cases. So we've got the bandwidth now. I mean, you and I are seeing each other in 3D right now. So, it's crystal clear, right? And we got people watching us live on Facebook, at least I believe they do. And so we've got all these different great platforms that are going on. And I was like, if I can just kind of get people in video, they can see the emotions as well as the impact it can have with the trailer that I create. So I just said, I'm going to do both. It's really been effective.
So how do you monetize a podcast?
That's a good question. Obviously I'm just in the growing stages myself. It's been about 2 years now where I'm actually now focusing on that. And then it's basically once you get the tribe, right? It's like you kind of find your close niche on tribe, and then you kind of find the sponsors that feed toward that. So I'm working with a couple of sponsors right now that kind of adapt to more coaches, entrepreneurs, that kind of thing for my podcast. You can't just throw any kind of thing on your podcast. They got to be more specific to what your podcast is if you're going to be, closely niched to it. So it's, it just takes time and patience, getting more downloads, getting more attraction out there, getting people to love you, like you, the whole thing you're selling with the Expert Secrets book, which by the way, I have both my books here. So
I love it.
So I just got my Expert Secrets book in the mail the other day. And I really do have to say the .com is a guide. It's more than a book. You can constantly go in there to kind of learn more and more and more about not only funnel hacking, but just life in general and marketing,
Well, thank you. We appreciate that. It means a lot to us.
Yeah.
Spend a lot of time on those kind of things. So tell me from a funnel standpoint, you've built funnels for other people. You've got your own. What are some of the things that you've learned through all this? What are some of the tips and tricks you would recommend others learn and understand?
Well, I'll be honest. I've never been really good at spelling or copy. So my strengths have been design. And I actually have a couple funnels in the marketplace on the funnel hacking website, or ClickFunnels. And one of the things I created was called a funnel stack. So, essentially you've got a funnel in there, right? You purchase a funnel or grab a funnel and you bring it down, but you might want like something from this funnel over here, or maybe a design over here from this one. So what I did is I created this funnel that has like 20 different tops, 20, call to action buttons, 20 different ways to design text. So you can just kind of, how you can hide layers, right? So you just go through and hide about 50 layers and you end up with a perfect website the way you want it. And then you just color it and stylize it. It's pretty cool. So
that is, now everyone's going to want to know how they get that. So you're going to have so it's in the marketplace. Go to marketplace.clickfunnels.com. Any name it's under, or how
Cody Dog Interactive, and it's called the funnel stack. So you'll see it under templates and you'll see it under full funnels. It's pretty cool. I mean, it literally saves you 3 hours of designing because there's every design imaginable in it. Right? There's you got a sitemap at the bottom or this, they're all stacked, right? You just choose which ones you want, and then you got your funnel you want. So, for those people that aren't too tech savvy with the design, they can then change the copy out. It's really nice. So,
Dennis, that is brilliant.
Yeah.
What a cool way of doing it. I take a funnel stack where we're typically layering one funnel on top of another funnel on top of another, and you've done a funnel stack from a design element, which that's brilliant. That's totally cool.
Just think of all the coolest websites you've ever seen, right? And okay, I want a little piece of that website, and I want a little piece of that design. And of course, you can design it, but I was like, well, I'll just pre-design all these things for everybody and just put them all in there, and there they have it. So you just, you got the elements thing on the side. It'll show them all at first, and then you can just hide each one or delete each one as you don't like them. So as you design it out, okay, I love this one. I love this video the way this one's platform. Well, if you want testimonies, I got 3 stacked or 6 stacked, or so it's all these different options you have, so you don't have to go build it.
Well, I hope you get a ton of people buying that one because that sounds amazing. I think that's super, super cool.
I'm doing pretty well in there. I would like to think I'm one of the best sellers, so we'll see.
That is awesome. I know it's one of those, we've got a lot of things on our plate, and one of those is really developing out our marketplace, but I'm so happy that you're having a lot of success with it. That's pretty cool.
I really love it. It's really fun. You kind of check your phone, check your Skype or your Stripe, and all right, sold a couple templates today. It's really kind of nice. And the people love it too. So once they understand how to use it, it's like, oh, this is so easy. Because, I was building for clients and they're like, okay, well, what do you like? Well, I like this guy's website. I like this guy's website. And before you know it, you're like, you're really kind of mixing and mashing. I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I'm just going to build one site that has all of it in there. And then I just delete what I don't need. Right. So I just sit there with the client. I go, well, you like this top, you like this call to action, you like this, testimony section, you like this article section, and just boom, 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 and it's all done. You'll have to check it out after the podcast.
Guaranteed I'll be buying that one for sure. That's awesome. My son actually sitting behind me. He's working, he's here from college working on some other projects for me. And so we've got one project he's working on that that will actually work real well for it. So you'll see
$17, it's all yours.
You'll see a Stripe $17 funnel here when we get done for sure. So tell me, also, as far as some of the other things you've seen from a design element, what are some of the important things that are, when it comes to design, a lot of us spend most of our time more on the structured things, but design really plays a major role in it. So what are some tips and things you can give people?
Well, in a design, it's very important to have good readable fonts. Really make sure the fonts are clearly readable. And a lot of people tend to put, they're not really good at design, but they start seeing all this cool stuff you can do at ClickFunnels. You can do so much with it, so easy, right? They start throwing 5 different size fonts on there and stuff. Really kind of control the amount of fonts you put on there and the sizes and the spacing between the fonts. You got that EM, which is your space between the line of each font so that people can read it really simple. Obviously having matching colors, not being too busy, is really essential. Very just clean, crisp, and simple, because you want them to read the text more so, and then click the button to buy, right? So you got to kind of navigate them through and make that nice and clean, and that's really important. So that's what I kind of also delivered in that, is very professional, clean text, so you can just replace the text and just go with it. It's all already spaced for you. It's already aligned for you, and so on and so forth. And I chose text that is specifically good for reading. So
I love that. That's great advice.
Yeah, great.
Well, obviously, as a guy, you have 5 Minute Bark podcast, and you're interviewing a ton of entrepreneurs all the time. What would you say I understand most of the people who listen to our podcast, they're typically, their funnels and their sales right now, you're going to find them anywhere from 50,000 to about the 5-10 million range. So what are some, I know it's a huge, broad range there, but what are some tips and experience that you've had either personally in your life or you've interviewed some awesome people. What are some things you've learned from your interviews and other entrepreneurial tips you can give?
Well, 2 things. If you want to, let's say you want to incorporate your funnels, all right, into your podcast. This is something I've done that's really worked really well. For example, I had Dawn Watson on from I'm Not Your Guru with Tony Robbins, really big hit. And we really wanted to help her create an email list and, kind of segue from that movie into coach, into, superstar. So what we did is I actually interviewed her on my show. And we took the interview and we made a little 2-minute trailer, and we put it in a funnel at the top and said, so we posted on Facebook or ran ads, and we had them go to the funnel. They could only see 2 minutes, and it says, to see the full episode, put your email address and your name in and click here, and then it brings them over to the full address. So we kind of use that more of as a utilization to get more leads for her. So not only is the podcast really cool, but she's actually using the podcast to get the leads that she needs in her niche market. So it was pretty cool.
I love that idea.
Right?
That's super cool.
And that's also in the marketplace too. It's called the podcast funnel. So yeah, it's.
I've written these down here. So I've got the podcast funnel,
the funnel stack.
The funnel stack. So you got 2 sales out of me here before the end of this here. So what else are you going to sell me, basically? I thought I was interviewing you, and I'm buying here.
The long form is actually the best seller. It's just a long form, kind of like what Russell does, the long form. It's just a lot of text layout. So a lot of people that are good sales, copy writers can really just bang through that real quick with that, because it's just got so many different, bullet sections and different things you can kind of just go right through with it. And it looks more sales copy like, right? You got the long form, and that's why I made one of them that's similar. You can just kind of bang out what area you want. So if you want, paragraph here or bullets or this, it just boom, 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 all the way down through. So I'm supposed to be interviewing Russell on the 26th, so maybe I'll have to share this with him as well, too. Yeah.
Yeah, he'll love that for sure.
It almost would be something. Go ahead.
No, finish what you're saying.
It'd almost be something that really they could incorporate later on into ClickFunnels as an asset and within it. I think it's a pretty good idea. So I'll talk to him about that.
I love the idea.
Yeah.
So help me understand, because right now we're basically recording each other doing this, and then you're also doing a Facebook Live. So yes. How are you utilizing social media and Facebook Live for your podcast?
So I have not been doing too much with Facebook Live. I've done it about 6 months ago. I was getting pretty active with it. Now I'm going to be very active with it because I really like recording from my computer, and which I'm doing right now. I'm using my computer versus my phone. So it's kind of nice to be able to now have it on your computer on Google Chrome. You can do a live offering. So, there's just nothing better than selling live. There's just no better, or doing an interview live. Sure, people love being on a podcast. It's convenient. But now, again, bandwidth has changed, and Facebook's changed thing where people can see things live, and they're in the moment, And if you're trying to convert a sale or just get a point across, they're right there breathing with you, seeing with you, and the action is taken. So it's really cool.
That's awesome.
This is fun.
So all the things, I'm having a great time. So all the things basically he's been telling. So for those on Funnel Hacker Radio thing who are listening to this, understand what's taking place here. So we've got basically, obviously I'm recording this as a Funnel Hacking Radio episode, but it's also going to be on Funnel Hacker TV. If you haven't gone to Funnel Hacker TV, we just put up 4 episodes there. They're crazy cool episodes. You need to take a look at those. But the main thing that's happening here also is Dennis is recording this for his use, and he actually is using this on a Facebook Live. And all the things that I'm now going to go buy, basically the 3 different funnels, he's now, as you guys have listened to him, most likely will end up buying. Also on his side, he's got basically from Facebook Live, most likely some people will be picking up his sales funnels as well, just from the things they've heard. So a great use of time, and most importantly, of different types of channels and social media. I think that's pretty amazing. Yeah,
you're getting information here, right? In several different directions. I mean, pick and choose how you want to hear it. You want to hear it later on while you're walking. You want to see, you want to be curious while you're working on Facebook Live, or you can go to YouTube when you're randomly hanging out at night and you want to just kind of flip on some YouTube channels, and you got that too. So it's got all the assets there. It's really cool. And it's not that hard. All this is happening right now, It's like when I'm done, I'm going to take this, I'm going to edit this video and this audio, and I'm going to be done with a half hour. I'll send you, a trailer of this within a half hour. So it's, it's really quick to have this all done and simple.
I hope that you guys, as you're listening to this, you're understanding the importance of getting your message out. I recently we were talking about Facebook Live. I recently did a 30-day Facebook Live challenge. Our inner circle was challenged to each do 30 days, every single day of doing a Facebook Live. And it was kind of fascinating for me as we went through that. At first, I felt like I was running out of things to say. And so it started basically being more creative and being more aware of what to say the next day. But I think what you were just talking about here is you're taking – this basically is going to be our 15, 30-minute interview, whatever. It will be streamed 3 different ways. Facebook Live, I'm going to have it on – I'm going to strip the audio off, and we'll have that on basically podcast. We're also going to take the video and put that on YouTube. So this is – and that's on my side, and you're doing one on your side as well. So we've really got, multiple uses here. And I think I would just encourage you guys, as you're out there, make sure that you're taking advantage of the time. And you may have mentioned quite a few times, Dennis, as far as the bandwidth and the importance of that. Can you mind share? It's one of the things I've always struggled with as far as doing a Facebook Live or a video like this for Skype. How much bandwidth do you really need to be able to make this work?
Well, we all have it, whether it's on your phone, you're doing Facebook Live on your, because that originally came out on your phone only, right? Remember? So the phone already has enough bandwidth on there, unless you're in some remote area. Obviously, your home computers have it. You can it tells you if you have enough bandwidth before you even go on live. But it's really important, I guess, to more focus on making sure that your backgrounds are dialed in, so that people aren't being distracted, and or if that's purposely what's happening. So like I like to do mine walking. I love doing my Facebook Lives driving or walking. So I have Velcro on the back of my phone, right? And I don't know if I'm where you're seeing it, but Facebook so on my car, it's right on my dashboard. So when I'm doing a Facebook Live, I'm not having to hold the phone. I can drive and I can kind of get in my own space with that, right? I guess Russell does a great job with that, with marketing your car. He's able to just kind of chat while he's driving, and it just helps you kind of be more natural and more authentic, right? Because if you just sit here and you stare at your computer, you're like, okay, what do I say? What do I say? What do I say? You know what I mean? It gets all like nervous and, oh my God, I'm the only one looking at myself. But if you're driving or you're walking a dog, you kind of have some distraction, so you can just kind of be more yourself. So if I was to encourage anybody to use marketing as far as Facebook Live, do something where you're getting distracted, so to speak, like walking or driving a car. Obviously have it mounted specifically in your car so you're not touching it, but that way you're able to, be distracted and you can talk and be like you're talking to a buddy or your girlfriend or your mom or whatever.
I love that advice. I actually made the mistake of just holding mine as I was driving for the
oh yeah, don't do
the
that.
last 30. It's actually because Russell just bought one of the little octopus little tripod things, has little knobs on it, and he's actually hanging his from his mirror to record the video. And it's upside down right now, so we got to figure out how to do that next.
Just do this, Velcro. Just put Velcro on the back.
I'm going to tell him.
Put on the
Velcro's
dashboard.
the way to go.
Yeah, it's simple, and you can adjust it, and you don't have to worry about trying to. Yeah, that's what I use. It's $2, versus $2. It's like buying $2 Chuck wine,
Well, I think it's really amazing when you take a look at some of the stuff you've been able to do with your content. Before this, I went through a lot of your different 5 Minute Bark podcasts. And,
which one did you like best?
Actually, the one I was looking at most recent was Alex Sharfin's. Okay. Alex is a good friend of mine, and was just kind of paying attention to his. And I loved kind of your trailer and things as far as how it led into that. And I think the part I was, I guess, most fascinated by was the whole idea as far as video. And literally, it's because of what I saw in yours that I started this one. So it's I thank you for this.
Well, thank you. Well, you know what it is I mean, just like he talks about in .com and Expert Secrets, it's getting people to be authentic and real and share it in their open environment. Magic comes out of your mouth, right? I mean, it really does. And that's the goal with my 5 Minute Bark podcast, is to be able to get people to just kind of be comfortable where they can just say what they want and do what they want. And we're just going to have a chat. And when I see them talk about something that's very specific, that's very valuable, I lead them there. So in other words, open forum. Hey, Dave, let's have a chat. And I see something you're passionate about. Let's go there. Right. And then that leads to you getting super excited, talking about something you really enjoy talking about. And then now people enjoy Dave, right? And they're reading into him. And it's, by the way, Dave does this and he sells this and this. So that's the new way of marketing. And these books that Russell just made, that's what it's all about.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So I know for us has been one of the main things we've been looking at is really trying to help people understand the importance of providing value. Yeah. It's the massive content and value. And again, you've done such an amazing job. It's fascinating for me as I take a look at what you're doing, where you basically have said no to your clients unless you're going to get on a podcast. It's like, that's
essential. In a lot of cases, I'll even charge to come on the podcast because they're getting a marketing video out of it, right? So, I mean, obviously I invite certain people, but when they come on, I'm giving them promotional material. So the videos and the trailers and so on and so forth. I mean, how much value do you think that would be to Alex Sharfin to use that video, because it's so powerful, right? It's got the music.
Oh, yeah.
And what does that cost? That would cost you, a couple $1,000 pretty easily. So, and one thing I really try to point out to people is there's a big difference between doing a corporate video and an authentic, real video where you're talking and saying true things. There's a massive difference. So people can relate to you. So when you do something on camera that's set up and you got a script, which I've tried with people before, it's just impossible because they're trying to read the bullet points and they're trying to make it authentic, and it just doesn't happen. But if you just kind of are in an interview setting and you're just kind of talking and we're taking you there, right, to say the important things without you even knowing you're going there, then it turns into a magical video. So that's what maybe the 5 Minute Bark has best to offer, is that magical moments that we get people to talk about in their podcast.
So how much time does it take to get down to the 5 Minute Bark?
Yeah. It's really simple, because I'll take this this feed right here and I'll go in and I'll put it in my video software, which is Final Cut Pro. And I can just see what chunks that Dave talked on. So I'm going to go look for the chunk that you talked on. I think is pretty inspirational. I'm going to grab that section. I'm going to put some music on it to see if it lines right. Make sure that you talked for at least 2 minutes. And then I'll set the music to it, see how it works, and then just find the right ending, the right powerful ending to it. And it turns magic. Everybody's like, wow. It's just perfect, because you get a good, the start doesn't have to be so much to be worried about. It's where you end, right? It's where the last powerful words they say. So that's really cool.
That's fantastic. I know again, if you guys don't know Alex is a guy who's very passionate about the entrepreneur. It's really what he's most passionate about. He has the entrepreneurial personality type. And you get him going down that road as far as the entrepreneur and the value an entrepreneur can bring to the entire economy and the world as a whole. And he's just so passionate that it was really neat just to see how that, I think it was like 4 minutes, whatever it was. And it was just like, man, it's emotionally connected. And I think you do a great job of that.
I think there's three.
Any tips you could give?
There's 3 or 4 of them on. So if you go to YouTube and type in Alex Sharfin, CHARFEN, 5 Minute Bark, you'll see them. And literally one of them, he's in tears. I don't know if you saw the one he's in tears, but he's in tears, like talking, because he's so passionate. So to get them people, to get my guests to that spot is there's little, moving you have to do, but it seems to happen pretty often. So I feel pretty lucky. Go ahead.
I love it. No, that's amazing. No, I think I think the neat part for me as I've gone through that and I've looked at that is to help people understand that, a lot of times we think of these podcasts, and again, mine are typically the 25, 30-minute range, and yet what I've liked most about yours is you really put it down to what's the most important thing that was said.
Right.
And I don't have the musical skills that you have, but I mean, it's this work of art that you created. Literally, it's just this masterpiece. You got the graphics, it's just super visually impactful. And I think it's one of those things where people are like, man, I want to see more of that. And so I'd encourage people, again, it's a skill set that you have, but I think it's pretty fascinating how you've done it.
Oh, thank you. And of course I do have the full episode. So mine, they run 20, 25 minutes as well. So they can go and they watch the full episode because there's plenty more of them. So sometimes there's like 3 or 4 good golden nuggets that I got of them. So I'll get 3 different trailers out of it, but the interview can go 20 and 30 minutes long as well. So I try to stay at 20, but it just, before you know it, you're already way past that because you're having a good conversation, and they're in the heat. They're in the heat of the moment. And I can't stop them there. It's like, okay, we're done. So, let's spoil this party. It took me 15 minutes to get you there, and let's spoil the party.
Doesn't work well.
Right.
Well, tell me, as we kind of wrap things up, anything else you want to make sure that our audience really gets from you? Because if you take a look at in 20 minutes, there's no way I could cover all that you've done in your career because you've got so many vast things. But you're extremely passionate about the funnels and graphics and art, and that side of it, I think, is just always comes out in everything that you touch. It has this Midas gold touch of just brilliance as far as you take a look at it. You're like, man, it's just beautifully artwork that comes out of it.
Right. Well, this is what I've got is I've had a knack of getting people to interview in a very high quality way, teaching them how to speak, how to be on camera, kind of enhancing their guest experience. And if you're going to be a person that's going to be going on podcasts quite a bit, I have a package I've been doing that's been really helping people out to prepare themselves to do an excellent interview. Because if you go on and start doing 20 or 30 interviews, it's very difficult to get your words across unless you really know what you're talking about. There's very specific things a host, like when you're interviewing me, there's very specific things like, Dennis, talk. Yes, you're doing a great job. Because if I'm talking, then you're happy because you're getting content out of me, right? So it's vice versa. So that guest has to understand how to answer these questions in a proper way. So you and I obviously can, really work this. We didn't even have preparation. We just jumped on. So we're handling it. You know what I mean? But a lot of people, they don't really quite know how to handle that. And they answer questions like, yes. And you're like, okay, well, I wanted you to say something about it, right? And I wanted you to say what meeting. And one of the first things I literally do with people is I teach them to say their own name the right way. So if I say, yeah, my name is Dennis Langlais, or I say, hey, I'm Dennis Langlais from the 5 Minute Bark podcast, there's power behind that. And there's little things like that make all the difference. Because if they're going to try to sell people in a podcast, you have to be present and authentic and real and touched up in certain ways. And then I take that and obviously I create the videos for them. And so the little coaching, a little video of being on the podcast, and I can actually give them a podcast funnel that I give to take their content now that they've gotten and put on that funnel and use that to promote themselves. So it's a funnel hack, pod funnel hack.
Well, the very next thing everyone's going to be bombarding my email with is, well, how do I get that? So How do they connect with you to get that information from you?
So you can reach out to me on Facebook, Dennis Langlais, or type in 5 Minute Bark and you'll get more than enough ways to find me there. 5minutebark.com, 5 Minute Bark podcast. I'll come up on YouTube, on iTunes. Obviously, you can subscribe to both of those, and I highly encourage you to. And or just reach out and talk to me, and I'll message them. I'll tell them what I have to show them and what we can do. So
I appreciate that.
No, I appreciate
I can tell you, the great part is you came so highly recommended. Daniel Geff is the one who referred you to me, and anyone Daniel ever recommends, I'm like, well, of course. But it's been fascinating for me as I've looked over your stuff over the last few weeks, just seeing you're everywhere. I mean, you're doing an amazing job. Just as you just talked about, well, you can get me on Facebook, you can get me on podcast, you can get me on iTunes, you can get me on...
Well, I used to be a professional athlete too. I don't know if you know that. If you look up BMX pro Dennis Langlais, I've been all around the world traveling as a professional athlete. My second life, my pre-life. So I got a whole nother separate Facebook page and everything for that. So it's a completely different life. But it's really exciting there as well to be able to travel the world and do extreme sports for people. The bikes and the ramps and the flips and stuff like that.
Yeah, so I had no idea.
Yeah, pretty cool stuff. So, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Got the opportunity. So I already had the life of the fame. So I'm basically have to recreate it myself through this radio show in a different form. And it's been quite challenging. but fun.
It's worked out well for you, though. I would think, at least from our perspective, looking at it, you've done an amazing job.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate it. And this is exciting.
Well, again, everybody, definitely reach out to Dennis. And Langlais is spelled Langlais. And you definitely want to follow him. I highly recommend, again, three funnels I'm going to be buying right after this are going to be in the marketplace. But in addition to that, make sure you take a look at understanding what Dennis is doing and why. I hope you kind of got an idea as that we talked about this. But his ability to basically work with people on a podcast, especially from a video standpoint, is just brilliant as far as a way to provide massive value to others and also build your own following. So great, amazing job.
David, thank you so much for taking the time to have me on your show. This is amazing, and you're a great host yourself. I am a complete ClickFunnels fan. I keep saying funnel hacking, ClickFunnels fan. I am no joke. I have so many people come up with me with different, platforms, ConvertTree, this and that. Oh, you can buy it once and you don't have to pay, all this money every month. I'm like, I'd rather pay, because with ClickFunnels, honestly, you get more than way more than ClickFunnels. You get, people that really appreciate you, a lot of value. Obviously, you guys give up so much value, and what is that worth, right? What is that worth? I'm a tribe person, so Apple computers, ClickFunnels, those are my tribes. Podcasters.
Thanks. Thank you so very much. Any parting words besides that? Anything else you want to say?
I just want to say thanks to listeners for listening and watching this today. This is great. And again, reach out if you have any questions. I'm sure to answer them for you. So, yeah.
Sounds great, Dennis. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right.